XDefiant is officially dead. The game is getting shut down. I'm not that surprised that this is happening, but I did not think it would happen this fast. So what led to this, you might ask? The answer is simple. They released an unfinished product, admittedly alongside an assortment of other things. I don't understand what every developer's obsession is with releasing half-baked games and calling it a live service. No, spending 2+ years adding features that should have been there on launch day is not a live service. You're just turning in your homework late. XDefiant on launch was literally just a beta with a battle pass. Ubisoft delayed the game for over a year, and that's the best they could do? When I booted this game up on launch, I was mind blown. The whole time I was playing, I kept asking myself, what in the world were y'all doing with all this time? I booted up the game at launch, so excited to play. Played for about an hour or two, and then I just uninstalled. I was baffled at how identical the game was to the betas I'd played over a year before then. It felt like absolutely zero feedback was acted upon when I played that game. Almost every single issue the game had during its beta tests were still prevalent when the game launched over a year later. Not even the netcode felt better, which was astonishing to me when considering the fact that Mark Rubin specifically said a big contributor to the delay was the netcode. So you delayed the game, quote unquote, indefinitely so that you could fix the issues with the netcode. But I'm still dying a full second after I've rounded the corner. I'm still dying in 2 bullets on my screen when on their screen they shot 7 or 8 bullets. I'm still getting blanks every other gunfight. And on top of that, we have the horrendous roadmap. Like, let's actually take a look at this for a second. Here we can see everything they had planned for seasons 2 through 4. At first glance, you might think, oh, that's really cool. They're being transparent with the community and setting expectations early on. Yeah, you're correct. They are doing all those things. But when you take a moment to read the details on this roadmap, you'll quickly realize that this game was doomed from the start. For example, in the first block of Season 2's content, you can see that we got the private matches beta. So you mean to tell me that you made a competitive multiplayer FPS, and for the first 3.5 months of the game being out, there was no way to host a private match? And now that it's here, the best you can do is a freaking beta? Are we copying 343 Industries now? Let's see how their game's doing. Some more things in Season 2. We have a top 500 leaderboard, ranked loadouts, and ranked map voting. Everything I just mentioned should have been in the game at launch. How does this need to be said in 2024? Stop launching games with barely any content. I know your game is a live service, but if your game is bare bones from the get-go, I'm not sticking around for 3, 4, 5, 6 months to a year just for a chance for your game to finally have the content and features that it should have had on launch day. I think another fundamental problem that plagued this game was its lack of identity coupled with the piss poor marketing this game had. To whoever the intern was that made those ads, listen man, it's not your fault. I know you did your best, but I have a task for you viewers. Try to explain XDefiant to a friend without mentioning Call of Duty or Overwatch. Yeah, it's pretty freaking difficult, isn't it? That was a huge problem that this game was never able to solve. XDefiant had no identity of its own. There was zero innovation done in this game. Let's look at other FPSs for a second. We have Titanfall, a game with a well-layered and dynamic gameplay loop that evolves over the course of one match, the likes of which we've never seen. You go from Pilot v Pilot to Pilot v Titan to Titan v Titan, with each stage of combat having very unique approaches. The game even popularized a new subgenre of FPS games known as movement shooters. Look at Destiny 2 and its ability to have you feeling anime as fuck due to its enormous catalog of unique and extremely creative weapons, coupled with the expansive abilities that allow one to be extremely creative in the way that they want to play the game. Playing Destiny 2 is like being given a blank canvas with anything and everything at your disposal. You are only limited by your creativity in that game. And then you even have Call of Duty that has borderline perfected the feeling of an arcade shooter, and even today is still innovating with things like Omni movement in Black Ops 6. And then you have XDefiant, Black Ops 4 with less content and a worse netcode. How many more games will we see die, get shut down, and never played again before this industry wakes up? How many more times are hundreds of people going to get laid off due to embarrassingly poor decisions they had no control over before this industry realizes that you make money by selling a good product? And you know what hurts the most about this? The core gameplay is phenomenal. But unfortunately, you can't just bank on the core gameplay to ride you off into the sunset. XDefiant had a real chance to cause a big shakeup in the arena FPS space and turn some heads. Something to finally give a Goliath like Call of Duty some competition. XDefiant truly had that potential to be a mainstay in this space. I never expected it to surpass COD or even be that close, to be honest, but I at least hoped for the game to find a sizable, dedicated community that could keep the game running for a long time. The potential was there, but unfortunately, potential is all it will ever be. And then you also have the god-awful Ubisoft Connect app. Why you would release XDefiant only on Ubisoft Connect is beyond me. Every developer wants to have their own exclusive launcher for their games to get people on their platform, and it's just not working. There are so many people who chose to not play this game simply because it wasn't going to be on Steam. And really, I can't blame them. The Ubisoft Connect launcher is terrible. Half the time the game doesn't even launch when you try to launch the game. You close the game and on Ubisoft Connect it says you're still playing the game for some reason. Navigating the UI as a whole is absolutely terrible. Both the in-game overlay and the Ubisoft Connect UI when you open the app. There's just so many problems with that freaking software. They really weren't helping themselves having that exclusively be on Ubisoft Connect and not putting it on Steam. Well, that's my rant about XDefiant. I'm gonna be sad when this game goes offline. I actually enjoyed it, but it had so many issues and so little content. Rest in peace, XDefiant. This is gonna be terrible for the FPS scene because now every developer is gonna be like, oh look, this is why you wanna have SBMM in your game, but we don't need that. It is what it is. So with all that being said, y'all take care.